Have you ever really stopped to think about the words we use when we talk about kindness? It's a universal idea, sure, but the language we use, from describing someone's struggle to how we offer help, well, it says a lot. So today, that's exactly what we're going to dive into. Let's get started. So let's start with a really simple question. What does kindness actually look like? Is it some grand gesture, or is it something a lot quieter? We often think of it as just a feeling, but kindness really comes to life in what we do, those small, everyday choices we make for each other. And sometimes kindness looks, and yeah, even smells, a lot like a hot meal. This quote just captures that perfectly. Giving someone food isn't just about nutrition. It's an act of comfort. It's a way to bolster someone's spirits, to give them a little bit of warmth and dignity. It's one of the most real ways to show you care. To really understand kindness, we first have to understand the need for it. And that brings us to our first section. We're going to explore the compassionate language we use to talk about people who are going through some pretty difficult times. A common phrase you've probably heard is to fall on hard times. That word fall is really interesting, isn't it? It suggests something that just happens to a person, something often outside of their control. It's a gentle way of describing that sudden shift from being okay to being in a crisis, maybe from losing a job or a sudden illness. And that kind of shift often leads to this situation right here. This quote points to a very real and stressful reality for so many people. But what is that phrase, struggling to make ends meet? What does it actually mean? Let's break it down. To make ends meet is all about managing your money so your income actually covers your essential costs. Think of it like a piece of string. You've got one end where your money comes in and the other end where it all has to go out. The whole goal is just to get those two ends to touch. And this illustrates that perfectly. On one side, you have your income. That's the money you earn. And on the other, you have your essential expenses. And we're not talking about wants here. We're talking about needs like food and rent. Making ends meet is that daily balancing act between these two columns. When the expenses get higher than the income, that's where the struggle begins. Okay, another term you'll hear is the less fortunate. This has long been used as a more compassionate way to talk about people facing hardship. The idea here is to acknowledge that a lot of our circumstances can just be a matter of luck or opportunity, and it shifts the focus away from blame. It kind of frames the situation with a bit more empathy. Now, a more direct term is the needy. As you can probably guess, it comes right from the simple verb to need. While it's very straightforward, it's a word that really focuses on that state of lacking something, whether it's money or food or even emotional support. It's a powerful and direct way to describe someone's immediate situation. So, we've explored the language of hardship, but that's only half the story, right? Now, let's shift our focus to the other side, the powerful language of action, and how we talk about our response. And this simple statement really says it all. Hardship and hope are like two sides of the same coin. A moment of struggle is also a moment where kindness can step in and completely change the story. A great, really informal way to talk about helping is to pitch in. I love this phrase. It just sounds so collaborative, like a team effort. It's not about one person having to solve everything, but about everyone contributing just a little bit to get something important done. And the quality that drives people to pitch in? Well, that's generosity. It's that willingness to give more than what's expected, more of your time, more of your effort, more of your resources. It's just an open-handed spirit that gives freely without expecting anything back. And a very specific action that comes from generosity is to donate. This is the verb we use when we talk about formally giving something, whether it's money to a charity, clothes to a shelter, or our time to a cause we really believe in. So what happens when we pitch in, when we're generous, when we donate? What's the actual result? Well, that's what we're going to explore in this next section, the very real impact of helping. This quote just gets right to the heart of it. Notice the feeling behind those words. It's not about getting a round of applause or recognition. It's about that internal sense of satisfaction, knowing that your actions are having a positive effect, no matter how small they might seem. And that feeling, that's what we call making a difference. It's the simple act of having a positive effect on the world around you. And it doesn't have to be some huge, world-changing event. More often than not, it's about improving one person's day, one small situation, or one corner of your own community. This is so important to remember. The act of helping is a two-way street. Yes, of course it benefits the person receiving the help, but it also has this profound positive effect on the volunteer. It can be so rewarding, so satisfying, and it can completely change how you see the world and your place in it. Okay, let's tie all of this together. When you combine the language of hardship with the language of action, you don't just get a single event, you get a beautiful, self-perpetuating cycle of kindness. And making a difference isn't some exclusive club. It happens in countless ways. It starts right at home, helping family. It extends to our friends when they need our support. It shows up in those small, anonymous acts for strangers. And it grows into giving back to our wider community. Every single one of these moments matters. So, the big takeaway is this: one act of kindness can inspire another. When we help someone, we're not only improving their situation, but we're also putting a little more goodness out into the world, which can then ripple outwards in ways we might never even see. And that leaves us with one final thought to reflect on. We've explored the words, the actions, and the impact. The only question left is a personal one for each of us. How will you continue the cycle?